Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Today I'm playing along with Craft Roulette and we've got a birthday card, we've got petting zoo colors, we've got a scoop, and we have tabs for our parameters. So I'm going to bring in this paper pack here that I got at Joann's on sale, and I'm just picked out some fun patterns because I know this is going to be a birthday card and it's going to involve ice cream. And so I just picked some fun colors that I could have some, maybe a strawberry ice cream cone on. And I'm going to make a fun fold. So I've scored it at 5.5, and then I'm scoring it at 2.25 and folding it back so that I have a fun fold. And I've got my paper here and I'm trying to decide how I'm going to use it. And I'm thinking I'm going to put the wavy pattern on the inside and the striped on the outside. Just going to bring in my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut it down. Now this one would need to be 4 by 5.25 if I want to have a little bit of an edge around there. And I'm just turning it to get the colors that I want. So that's going to be my inside panel. And then the fold was 2 1/8, so I'm going to have to go into, I think it was 2 1/4, so I'm going to have to go into 2 1/8 on that cutting piece is what I'm doing. And so I'm going to get my panels laid down on here and just decorate up this card base. Now that card base is Spellbinder's Dahlia, and I just love the color, and I thought I would just use it for the card base. Most of the time I use white card bases, hammer mill, because I like to make my cardstock, my Spellbinder's cardstock last because it is really good cardstock. And I've cut it wrong, so I'm going to trim it up there and match it up to the other panel so that they line up together. So, but tonight I thought it would be fun to use the Dahlia for the card base. I just love that color and I think it's really pretty and fun. So I've got my 2 pieces of pattern paper there, and I've die cut out already my cone, and this little die set was part of the Crafty Advent calendar last year that I opened up each day on my channel, and it had so many fun little tiny elements in it, and this cone was one of them, and I thought it would be super fun. So I got my cone laid on there, and I got my little waffle pattern. I put it in a darker color, and I'm getting it glued down on there. And I'll just get my cone build up, just wiping off any excess glue. Now, in addition to being a fun fold card, I'm also going to make this interactive. Now, these 2 little pieces here are the little cherry, the little stem, and I've got some more scoops. So I'm meeting my scooped element with this, and I'm going to meet my tabbed element with my interactive piece is how I'm going to meet that. And then we've made it a birthday card, and I'm using some really fun bright colors in that paper pad, and that's because the zoo that I go to is a children's zoo, and there's lots of color in that zoo, lots of fun colors just like this. In fact, when you enter the zoo, they've got a real neat zoo sign that the kids always want to set on and get their picture taken on as you enter the zoo, and it's quite colorful. And then there's also a butterfly wall where they've got butterfly wings, and the kids can stand up against the wall and have wings on either side of their body, and it's quite colorful as well. So I'm showing you the cherry die. It cuts both the cherry, the red piece out, and the stem piece as well. So that's why I took my marker and just colored the stem green so that I wouldn't have a red cherry stem. I'd have a green cherry stem. It's actually a little darker than green because of the red. It's almost like a green brown, which is probably reflective of what a cherry stem would look like. So I'm just using my tweezers to pinch that together so it'll glue. I'm going to set them aside and work on something else while that's gluing. Now I'm going to bring this panel in. It's going to help me to build my interactive. And I just took another Spellbinder's Crafty Advent die that I had in that set. It was like a balloon string. And I made a slit in that panel so that I could make it interactive. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some additional scoops to my ice cream cone that I can slide up and down. So it'll look like when it's closed, I only have 2 strawberry scoops of ice cream. But when we get it together and you're able to pull the tab, then you'll be able to see that I've got 4 scoops of ice cream. So I'm just building a little mechanism with 3 circles where I'm bending 2 of them in half, and I'm gluing half of it down to the base, and I'll just push them down. And then I'll have that pop-up piece, 2 pieces, that I can slide through my hole, my slit, and then I can flatten those 2 pieces down, and I can glue my tab on there, and I've got a little mechanism that will make a slider. So you don't have to buy mechanisms for this. You can just make them. I used 3 little die cut circles and glued them together like that, and I'm gluing my tab that I made, and it says pull on it. And how I did that was I kind of cheated, and I used my Cricut and made a little tab, and I put the words pull on there and used my Cricut markers to write out the pull. So I did kind of cheat on that, but I wanted to be able to have the word pull on there so people would know to pull that up and down. So now I'm just layering my darker strawberry icing, or yeah, like a fudgy strawberry fudge type icing on my ice cream, and I'm putting my cherry on top, and then I'm just going to layer it with my brown scoop and then my vanilla scoop. And then I'll add that to my tab. Now I had meant that I was going to pop up that top piece with the cherry on it, and I forgot to do that. So my bottom piece is actually going to be behind my top piece, but it'll work out in the end. I figured out that I've done that, and I'm realizing I don't want to put too much glue on there because I don't want to get my glue down there on the dahlia paper, because I don't want it to glue my interactive piece so it doesn't interact. So there we go. Now we've got it. Now the scoops are larger than my cone, so I'm going to have to compensate for that. So I'm going to bring in this 3rd piece of pattern paper, and I'm going to kind of create a little frame around my ice cream to cover up those larger scoops so that I can lay my cone there and you won't see those scoops behind my cone. So I had to get a little creative with this just because of the shape of the cone. So I'm just going to create, it's actually going to be like a little pocket. I'm going to take my score buddy and I'm going to just score at 1/8 of an inch on both sides of this and create like a little fold. And I'm going to just create a pocket. And I didn't even score my bottom panel. I'll actually put glue on it. And so I'm just going to, this is just a little pocket that I'll be able to put around that and cover up those other scoops. And then I can lay my cone down on this little pocket. So I'm just putting a little glue around the edges, and I'm going to get those sides laid down. And I tried to keep some room in there so that my element could, still have room to flow. And I made it bigger than it needed to be. And see, I'll put my cone on there, and then I can just pull my scoops up to where you can see all of the scoops that are on there. So I'm just working with it, trying to figure out exactly how I want to lay that cone. And so I'm going to get it positioned, and we'll get that cone glued down on there. And you can see that I can still pull it and get all my cones. So I'm going to trim that off because I don't need it to be that long. And I'm going to see how that'll fit on my panel. And it looks a little long on the top too, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim that down as well. And we'll just get this little interactive element laid down there on the card. Now I'm going to glue it, but I got to stay away from that circular area because I don't want to get any glue, in that slit or in that circular area so that I can get it glued down and not mess up my interactive piece. So I'm just testing it and making sure I've got it how I want it. And I think it looks pretty good. But as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, I need some sprinkles on this. So I took another die set that I have that is a cheese grater, and it creates a whole bunch of little tiny bits. And I just used some darker pink, and I'm going to use these bits as sprinkles for my ice cream cone. And so I put them all over the bottom one and get them how I want them. And then I decide that I need to add them to the top one too. So I will put them on the top one and get them laid down on there as well. I'm just adding a bunch of them. I just think it kind of looks more fun with some sprinkles and kind of ties in the pattern paper that we have there. And then once I get all these down, I'll do the bottom scoop and then the top scoop. And then after I actually get done videoing, I actually take another color and add a second color of sprinkles to my scoops. And so you'll see that in the picture at the end. And this is where I decide I'm going to add sprinkles to the top scoop. And I don't add them to the other ones because I just didn't want to have extra thickness in there and impede my ability to use my pull tab. So I'm just doing the bottom one and the top one, and then it'll still flow very nicely. So now I'm thinking about using this happy birthday sentiment on the inside, and then I think, well, I could put it on the outside, and then I've got the shadow done. I'm just trying to figure out how I could fit that on there. And so I've decided I need to decorate that panel. And so I'm going to look around for some more of that flower paper because I used a little bit of it and I laid it somewhere and I couldn't find it. So I had to pull another piece out of the pad and cut it down so that I'd have the strip to go on there. And I'm just going to get it laid in there, and then we'll have 3 coordinating but different patterns on there. I thought that was kind of fun. I think this makes for a really fun birthday card. So now I'm thinking I need to be able to write on there. So I took my fancy stitched oval die or rectangle die from Cat Scrappiness, which I love, and I die cut out just a white scalloped rectangle there that I could use for writing in my birthday card. And then I'm thinking about that sentiment, and I'm thinking I'm going to stamp this happy birthday and cut it out. And I bring in this piece of scrap that I just die cut that frame out of. And then I look over to grab something, and I notice that I've got my Pink and Main birthday sentiments there, and I've already got some stamped and die cut out. And so I thought, and it'll fit better on there. So I decided to use this Pink and Main die cut and lay it on there. So I'm going to put that other stuff away. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking I want to put a back collar on there. I'm going to offset. So I'm grabbing the die that I originally did this with, and it's Pink and Main, and I'm going to use some of that dahlia paper, and I'm just going to die cut out another backer for that happy birthday to you. It's the exact same size, so I'm going to just offset it, and it'll add just a little, it'll help that sentiment to pop up. So I'll just get that positioned how I want it, just add a little glue to it, and we'll have a little bit of that dahlia peeking out behind that, and it'll just add a little separation for the sentiment with the paper that I've got laying down there. And so we'll do that, and we'll just get it laid down flat. And then we've got our little interactive fun fold card. And I'm going to bring in some Cat Scrappiness enamel dots in pink. And I'm going to use the little ones. And I'm just going to kind of dress up that little white panel a little bit. And then that'll finish off our card. So the parameters weren't too bad tonight. The previous couple of weeks have been pretty rough. I wasn't completely excited about the whole tab element. I thought I could work with everything else pretty easily. But then when I decided to go with an interactive tab and an interactive element, I thought that'd work perfectly. So I was pretty pleased with how it all came together. I'm just going to add another little one on there, and that way we have an odd number, and I've got 5 enamel dots on there. So that finishes off the card. I hope you like it. Have a great day. Take care.